An approach is physically walking over to the girl and making a noise, right? If you did that, you made an approach, right? And so you guys put all this, like, guys get so much approach anxiety because they're worried about everything's going to happen 5 minutes in, 10 minutes in, 20 minutes in. Here's all you need to be thinking on the approach. Hey, excuse me. Cool, I did an approach.
That counts as an approach?
Yeah. If at this point I run out of things to say and I forget how to speak English and I run away, if my problem was approach anxiety, I approached. I can be proud of myself. Now, most of the time, you're going to continue and you're going to figure something out, even if you bumble or fumble, and it'll be fine, and you'll actually do okay. But if your issue is actually approach anxiety, be okay with, hey, excuse me, oh, fuck, I'm sorry, have a nice day. Absolutely fine, right? You're welcome. Yeah. That was the best.
So you count a hello as an approach? Because I always wanted to know what exactly counts as an approach.
Yes, with an asterisk.
Mm-hmm.
If you're dealing with approach anxiety, yes, then I count hello as an approach. Mm-hmm. Once you get to the point where you no longer have approach anxiety, I want you to up your standards. Again, if you're dealing with approach anxiety, anytime you walked up to the girl and made a noise is an approach. That's very clear. Once that's no longer a thing for you, but let's say you get into a situation where you habitually get into conversations but you never make it man to woman. Well, now you should up your standards. Now you should say, if I give one compliment, say one man to woman thing, or say one polarizing thing, then it's an approach. But if I didn't, it doesn't count anymore. Wherever you're at in game, you want to set your standard for what is a successful practice rep. You can have two standards if you want. What is a success that I can walk away with and be really proud of? Like I achieved something, and then what is a successful practice rep? And if you're dealing with approach anxiety, a successful practice rep is you walked up and said something. If you are always having platonic interactions, never making it man to woman, doing that again is not a successful practice rep. Trying one man to woman thing makes it a successful practice rep. So your standard for what's a successful rep has gone up, right? And then at a certain point, it goes up and up and up. My standard for a successful rep, if I do what you guys would consider to be a good approach, and I walk up and I'm sort of, a little bit cocky, and I say some man-to-woman things and whatever, but at no point do I actually give a girl a real, true rejection of any kind or a real, true push away of any kind. I don't consider that a valid approach for me, because that is my biggest sticking point. My biggest current sticking point is if I've been out on boot camp a lot, but not out practicing by myself much. I get very used to scenarios where boot camp student approaches a girl who is probably like a 7 or an 8 or something like that, because that's just what you find cute girls, right? And then I go and talk to her friend who's like a 6 or a 7, right? And my game, I'm being charming and the girl loves me because I'm just better than a 6 or a 7 in terms of I'm just more attractive than that. And I don't have to do much. And if I'm too polarizing, it's not going to even be a good thing because it has a risk of blowing the student out. Even if it has a very high probability of making the girl like me, I don't want to blow my student out by like polarizing too much. So if I've done a lot of that kind of game, and then I see a 10, and I haven't done my own game, the most common sticking point I'll have is I go up and have a very charming, competent set that is not polarizing enough, and the girl like politely knows I'm a high-value guy, but politely is not interested, right? So my reminder is I have to go break rapport hard in the first 30 seconds with the type of girls I really want for myself. And so if I go up and I'm not enough of an asshole, that doesn't count as a practice rep for me. That makes sense? And again, it's not being an asshole. It's doing something to really spark a real conversation. It's like the interaction needs a catalyst. If I don't give it that catalyst, it doesn't count. So the best example I can give of this is when I transitioned from being a poker player primarily back to being a dating coach primarily, I gave myself a standard of 3 approaches a day, every single day. And I wove them into my life. So at the time I was living in Boston, and I was living in Cambridge, and I was going to a CrossFit gym that was kind of like across the bridge into Boston proper. And so I would walk to Harvard Square, get on the bus, go to CrossFit, back on the bus, back to Harvard Square, walk home. During that period, I had to do 3 approaches, right? And I'd try and leave a little bit early to give myself some time. But I had to do 3 approaches by the time I walked back in my door. And if I got back to Harvard Square and hadn't done the approaches, I had to walk around until I'd done 3 approaches, right? So I was doing 3 approaches every single day. Typically, I was getting 2 to 3 numbers out of those 3 approaches because I was pretty good at the time. And then I had to follow up with all my numbers. That was my practice plan at the time. The other most extreme practice plan I had was when I was living in Vegas, and this was enforced upon me, but I just had to go out every single night because I was coaching every single night. But those are the most intense kind of training periods I've had. But it doesn't have to be a lot. 3 approaches a day and follow up with your numbers, especially if you're pretty good and you're getting a lot of numbers. That does take up a lot of your time. Like I was dating a lot of girls in Boston, right? Yeah.
like you're making 100 approaches a day and you're just constantly circling the same park, you feel like you're worried you're going to see the same people over and over again because they're trying to in that area?
It could. If you ever have that happen, go to a different area. Right, there are other places, like I could walk the other direction and do my approaches. There was another park the other way, or I could go further in, or I could go do night game one night and stuff like that. I didn't really run into it too much, but it could happen. It absolutely could happen, especially if I had been going to class at the same day every time, which I wasn't necessarily. I say same time same day every time. I don't know, whatever. I think I said it wrong, but you know what I'm saying. The more routine it was, the more likely that would be to happen. But you can always just change up your routine. It's not a big deal. If I notice it happening, I would adjust.